Okay, welcome back to the Marketing Schematic. Today we have a very special episode planned, a couple new faces on the podcast. So we're going to be recapping the WIMTS trade show that the Top Floor sales and marketing team attended almost a month ago now. So in addition to me and Chad today, you have Ian Trice, our account executive, and Martha Herdendorf, our marketing coordinator. Welcome.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Hi.
Yeah. Is this
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
Yeah.
I didn't ask you this before, but is this the first time you've been on a podcast?
My first time.
Very exciting. Congratulations.
First time front facing for Martha, at least.
Yes, exactly.
Sure.
Yes.
That's
so Martha,
true, I guess.
You do a lot of the clipping of our podcast episodes. So
yeah. So I'm familiar, but I've never actually spoken out loud.
Yeah. First time for everything.
Well, good luck.
Yeah. It's very low pressure.
Yeah. Stakes are low.
Do you guys want to just quickly do like an introduction? Martha, maybe we can start with you and then have Ian go.
Sure. So like Ann said, I'm Martha Herdendorf. I am the marketing coordinator at Top Floor, and I have been in this role for a long time, I think 7 years. Ann and I work very closely together on all of the marketing for Top Floor. If you are in our database, you've probably received many, many emails from me about coordination of events, workshops, webinars, our in-person round table, and I also I work on the social media accounts as well. And so lots of things.
Yeah, cool. And then you want to introduce yourself, Ian?
Yeah, my name's Ian Trice. I've been at Top Floor for almost 5 years now. When I started, I was an account manager, so managing our day-to-day accounts for our recurring clients. And then a few years ago, moved into a sales role. So now I'm an account executive and have conversations with prospective clients and see how we can meet their needs.
Yay.
Awesome.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
And we make an excellent team, I must say. Our little sales and marketing group.
Yeah. Somewhat biased, but yes.
Somewhat biased, but
Agreed.
Cool. So like I mentioned earlier this month, we're in October, close to the end of October, but earlier we went to the WIMTS show, which is the Wisconsin Manufacturing and Technology Show. We've exhibited at this show for many years. I don't know the exact number of years. Martha and Chad, maybe you have some insight.
In the 10-year range, I would say.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Many years.
Yes, it's been a long time. And this past year was my first time getting to actually be involved in the process and kind of our strategy behind our booth and what our goals were. So that was really cool for me. So I want to just start with kind of explaining what the WIMTS show is and why we exhibit there. So Martha, I'm going to turn this question to you to start, since you are, I think, a veteran in this show. And then if anyone else wants to add on to what Martha has to say, they can.
Okay. Just coming in hot. Okay. So like Ann said, it's the Wisconsin Manufacturing Technology Show. It happens every other year. And so Top Floor, as a provider of services to manufacturers, it makes a lot of sense for us to be there, connecting with people in the industry, but also hearing firsthand what's happening with manufacturing, hearing from the people that are exhibiting. What are their pain points? What are exciting changes that are happening in the industry and ongoing challenges, et cetera. And it helps us kind of glean that information and learn on how we can do a better job at helping them with their needs.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's perfect. Great job.
Yeah.
I would also add that it is like
I could just see you say, "Thank God that's over" in your head, I think.
I'm done. Bye.
All right. I said all I have to say.
Yeah. See ya.
No, that was perfect. That was very well said.
Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, one
Um,
thing I wanted to jump in with for the WMTO show, I think I want to give credit to the organizers because I think they do a really good job of bringing in a wide variety of different types of companies, from like CNC companies, you know, casting foundries, lots of robotics and technology companies. So it's really diverse, but it does stay true to the name, which is focused on technology and manufacturing. So they do a good job of bringing in some pretty quality companies.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a really
And
good point.
I won't name names, but Ian and I were recently at a trade show that was labeled for manufacturers. And I think there were, I don't know, maybe 5 manufacturers that we saw total in the entire
Yeah,
exhibitor hall.
yeah,
So yeah, it was nice to be there. And like you said, there is just a wide variety. And also, even though it's the Wisconsin show, there were a lot of international companies there, from
For
Europe.
sure.
Someone from Australia came to stop by our booth. So
hmm
there was a lot of geographical variety.
yeah,
That's a good point for sure, especially comparing it to your guys' experience in the last couple of weeks when you went to that other show where it was deemed to be for manufacturers, but instead it was kind of just titled manufacturers or trade
yeah,
show for manufacturers, and it was people trying to sell to manufacturers.
yep,
Hmm.
So
exactly.
Yeah.
that's a good point.
And then the other thing I was just going to add too is some people might be more familiar with the IMTS show. So this is kind of like I think it's kind of like the little brother to that. So that the IMTS is also on opposite years of WIMTS in Chicago. So that one, that is international and it's much, much bigger.
Much,
But-
much, much. Yeah, this is a lot more
yes,
manageable for
yeah,
sure.
hmm
definitely. So cool. And then speaking from your guys' experience, maybe I'll start with you on this one, Ian. What do you think has been different about this show compared to previous years that we've exhibited? Or it could be exhibitors that seemed different to you, or just themes or topics we heard about. Like what kind of made this year unique?
Yeah, on the seminar side is where I saw the biggest change, and there was a big focus on AI. Obviously, that's the hot
Mhm.
button topic of today. But
For
I think
sure.
there were at least 2 or 3 seminars that were focused somewhat on AI. And what was cool about this year is that our top floor's very own Justin Curley got to present
Mhm.
on how to use and leverage AI and Chat GPT for B2B marketing. So
Mhm.
he showcased, how to use that tool and how to, write content and get prompts. And so we had a good audience for that presentation.
Mhm. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's kind of what I
I would
was.
add
Yeah.
to oh, sorry.
No, go
On
ahead.
that note, I was gonna add that it feels like there is definitely a ton of excitement right now from coming from the manufacturers about these like emerging technologies, AI and everything else. So that was fun
Mhm.
to watch and see. And they were talking about it and
Yeah.
it's exciting.
Mhm. Yeah, that's pretty much exactly what I was going to say too is AI. I mean, like I said, this is the first time that I've gotten to be a part of the show and really experience it, but I can only
Hmm.
imagine that AI probably was not as big of a topic 2 years ago. So
I
that
don't think
was
so at
Right.
like,
all. Yeah.
yeah, exactly. It was, I would even say there was probably more than 3 seminars on AI. I think they're in a
Could have been.
lot. But yeah, I think we're the only ones though who took the marketing approach of like how do you tailor your
Yeah.
marketing messaging, specifically for manufacturers. So that was
hmm
cool. Yeah. Any other differences you really noticed, or was it otherwise pretty much similar to years past?
That was the biggest. But the other thing that there was, and I'm not sure if it was our approach to the trade show or if the audience had changed, but we had a lot more meaningful conversations than years past.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Way more in depth, less surfacey. Even if it wasn't specifically talking about, what Top Floor does, just hearing about people's businesses and what's going on with them, they were much more quality conversations than the years past.
Mhm.
So quantity was up and quality as well, which is nice to have both.
Yeah, definitely. That's a good segue into the next question or topic I want to talk about is how did we use our booth to engage attendees and other exhibitors? And I'm going to start by asking you, Chad, because you kind of got the ball rolling with the idea that came to be. So do you want to talk about what we did at our booth?
Yeah, so I guess our idea this year, the four of us kind of brainstormed and we talked about what we had done in the years past. And rather than kind of do the typical present, this is what Top Floor does and how we do it, we decided to really just focus on having those more in-depth, meaningful conversations like Ian had mentioned. And so rather than, hey, let's talk about websites, we kind of took the approach of, hey, we have this podcast, and ultimately we would love to just hear from people as to what they think is the coolest thing going on in manufacturing or the coolest thing they're seeing at the show, and just kind of, I don't know, keep it more broad and talk about what interests them versus kind of what interests us, which is the marketing side of things. So I think that was, to me, it was hugely successful because it wasn't just trying to right away jump into that conversation of like, hey, are you a lead or not a lead, or do you want to work with us or not work with us? It was more learning from an experience standpoint. Just being there, it was definitely more in engaging, and got to learn more from people about what is going on in manufacturing, which I think was all of our goal going into it. Was how can we stay on top of the latest trends and the latest greatest things that are affecting our clients and our prospects and the people that we want to work with. So I thought that was really cool. And it did lead to a lot of really good conversations and a lot of, not even just with attendees, but with other vendors and people that were kind of near us as well.
And it also helped that we gave away Bucks tickets. So that was nice little piece to entice people to talk to us. But also shout out to Jenny Hansen from Meltrick. She was our winner of our Bucks tickets giveaway. So,
nice. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, she's got the tickets. I think the game's in March. So.
And shout out to the Bucks front office for timing that trade perfectly for when we were giving away free tickets too.
Like they did it just
definitely
for
some
us.
Buzz around the Bucks. Yeah, definitely some buzz around the Bucks organization.
Yeah,
I thought that was a kind of a different, the takeaway for me was maybe, or that other people could even take away is like, it doesn't always have to be so direct in what you're doing when you're attending different shows, and kind of look at what is that audience that's coming to it, and maybe find a way to be more indirect, or less direct, I should say, with your approach to try to connect with people and talk with people, and don't just try to sell. Maybe it's better to take a less direct approach to it.
Yeah, I think when you just focus on like the relationship building aspect of it, and not necessarily with the number one goal of I'm just trying to sell and pitch my services, and actually asking questions to your target customers about what their challenges and pain points are, and just trying to get to know them, and having the goal be learning instead of necessarily like just trying to make a sale, I think was a really good approach.
Yeah, it's like having, I don't know, I equate it to like having a conversation with someone, like Top Floor having a conversation with people, but this time we actually like listened. It wasn't just us talking the whole time. It was us like taking a step back and being, well, what do you want to say? Like, what do you have to say about what's going on? Which was really cool.
Yeah. So the two questions that we asked were, if they were attending the show, just walking through it, it was, what's the most exciting thing that you've seen at the show so far? And then if they were exhibiting, we asked more about their booth and what are they excited to showcase. And then the second question for both of those categories was, what's the most exciting thing that's happening in manufacturing right now? So I thought we could just kind of talk a little bit about some of the common themes that we heard from those questions. So Ian, I know you handled a lot of the podcast interviews. What were some of the themes that you noticed in asking those questions?
Yeah, the biggest thing that people were excited to see at the show were a lot of the robotics. Obviously, that's a big part of the show. But they also have a robotics competition where local students, I think it's high school students, come and program a robot to do certain tasks. And then they're judged on that. And there's a little award ceremony. So there was a lot of people that were talking about that competition and the interest and intrigue around that. And just showing, how much of an investment schools are making in robotics. So that's been a big wave for a while, but even for our own clientele, we're hearing about a lot of companies that are investing in robotics and automation from our client side as well. So that was a big topic that we heard.
Yeah, definitely. What about you, Martha? I know you didn't do as many podcast interviews, but of the ones you did, were there any like themes that you noticed?
I would have to agree with Ian. I think
Mhm.
one of the things I remember I think I only did one interview, to be honest with you, but he was excited about just watching the exhibitors interact with the students that were there, and how excited the students seemed to be just in learning about the different areas of manufacturing and different machines, and it just was
Yeah.
like this buzz. It was exciting to see.
Yeah. I'll add to that. So this trade show is 3 days, and the last day is student day. So that particular day, there were a lot of high school and college students, which was just encouraging to see, knowing that kind of the state of manufacturing and labor shortage right now. It's good to see that there are younger kids who are interested in pursuing a career in manufacturing. One of the things that I heard that's kind of ties in all of that is automation obviously is a exciting part of manufacturing right now, but also how automation can address those labor shortages. So making the processes easier for new employees to learn or new students to learn. So
Yeah.
those robots becoming, something that makes the manufacturing field really exciting and enticing. That was something that I heard a lot too. Is just kind of how automation can address labor shortage too. So cool. Any other themes anyone picked up on, whether it was just from the show overall or the interviews we did?
I mean, that was
Those are
really
probably
it for
the big
me. I
ones.
think those were the big
Yeah.
ones. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. All right. Well, then we can turn the questions to ourselves. And I'm going to ask each of you, what was the most exciting thing that was at the show, in your opinion? And what is the most exciting thing happening in manufacturing right now? So, who am I going to pick on first? I'll start with you, Chad. What
Yeah.
was the most exciting thing at the show? And you can say it was our booth.
That's my answer. That's my answer. I did.
So don't take
Oh,
it
you took it. Oh no.
yet.
I'll say the most exciting thing at the show was just, and this is just gonna be a broad answer, but I think it was going back to how focused it was and how good of a job they do on having manufacturing companies there. It was nice to walk around and actually see, existing clients, people that we worked with in the past, and a lot of new exhibitors, new companies that were there that kind of fit our exact mold of people that we work with. They were in it. They were there to sell. They were there to meet and talk with other manufacturers and really learn and also sell to other manufacturing companies the items that they produced or the processes that they did. So I thought that was really cool.
Yep. And then for you, what's the most
That in the old,
exciting
I would say
thing?
that in the old school fire truck that they brought in that me and
Oh,
Ian,
yes.
kind of snuck into and climbed around. That was pretty sweet too.
Yeah, that was cool. That was like right across from our booth too. So
yeah, that was very cool.
what is the most exciting thing happening in manufacturing?
Yeah, the most exciting thing, and I think this is from a lot of the feedback we got too, but it's definitely around AI and automation. I think those are two separate topics, but they're kind of lumped together a little bit, related. But that's just it's just things are moving in leaps and bounds, and I think it's going to be just crazy to watch how things progress over the next 6 months to year, with being able to do just all kinds of things that we were hearing about, using AI for quality control and automation of processes and procedures and all that sort of stuff. I think is just gonna, I don't know, it's gonna be crazy. If it's already crazy, but it's gonna be even crazier with the things that people are able to produce and do and how efficient and effective they can be.
Yeah, definitely. Martha, I'm going to go to you next. What was the most exciting thing about the show?
So my most exciting thing was twofold. It was also our booth. So one thing we didn't mention earlier when we were talking about how we used our booth to kind of engage attendees, this year we had a brand new booth design and layout for the first time. And so I've been doing these shows for a number of years now, and it was the first time that it felt very focused, and we had extremely specific branding that got straight to who we are and what we do, and there were no questions about it. We do marketing for manufacturers, and that was front and center on the backdrop. And it was just it was very exciting because I feel like it helped prompt better conversations when people come in knowing exactly what to expect. So that was very exciting. I loved that for us. But I also really enjoyed having conversations, and I'm going back to the students again with like young people and seeing the excitement and hearing, you know, they're excited to go into manufacturing and the trades, and it just feels very optimistic for the future.
Yeah, definitely.
Good answer.
Yes, very good
Thanks.
answer. And I'm glad we kind of glossed over that, the whole rebrand in a sense of our booth. It didn't leave anyone wondering what it is that we do. So you kind of you eliminate that part of the conversation of like, okay, so what is Top Floor? A flooring company?
Right.
Which is something
Yeah,
we get a
right.
lot. So yeah. And then for you, Martha, what do you think is the most exciting thing happening in manufacturing right now?
I mean, I have to piggyback off what Chad was saying about AI and just like the emerging technologies that are happening and how fast it's all happening. And you know, I sit on the AI committee here at Top Floor, and I've learned so much just being in that group, but then watching it kind of, you know, translate to the manufacturing industry is just, it's crazy what's happening. So
Yeah. Cool. Thanks. Okay, Ian, your turn. Coolest thing about the show?
Well, it definitely was our booth. I mean, walking around and seeing other booths and what other people had set up, and then walking back to ours, it just looked so clean, super fresh. You know, our goal was when we were brainstorming the new marketing approach for the booth was we have about 3 seconds to capture somebody's attention. So let's make the messaging really short and clear, so that they can digest exactly what we do really quickly. Because as we walked around to other booths, or our experience with exhibiting in the past is, you can walk right by a booth, and if there's too much going on, you'll just keep walking and not even know what they do or what they're about. So
Right.
that was the coolest part, is just, you know, I do a lap around the exhibit hall and then come back to our booth and just say, wow, it looks so good. Approachable, you know, comfortable. So that was definitely the coolest. And then there, you know, also as what Martha said, was the excitement from the students on that last day. Just hearing about that, you know, next generation that's excited to get into the manufacturing industry and industrial space. That was really great. Also, the quality of conversations we had. I talked about it earlier, but we just really went in depth about other people's businesses and what they were manufacturing, what they were excited about. So yeah, overall, it was a great show for us.
Cool. Yeah, I totally agree.
Mhm.
And then for you, what's the most exciting thing happening in manufacturing?
Yeah. So I believe it was this summer, there was an act that was passed that's called the Invent It Here, Make It Here Act. And essentially it's an act to encourage people that are in, especially I think it's federal agencies or federal research and development programs, to manufacture whatever they develop in the United States domestically, if possible. So I'm really excited to see what comes out of that. I think Wisconsin should be excited about that because of the, you know, the deep roots in manufacturing.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see what work that, you know, comes out of that that initiative. So that's what I'm excited about. I think there's going to be a big wave of incoming work.
Yeah, that's awesome. Good answer. All right, I'll go last with my answers to these questions. So
Now that you can steal all of ours. Yeah.
exactly. So I'm just gonna
Strategic.
agree. I'm just gonna agree with all of you guys. I think
I
what you said
agree
is
with everything you guys said. Wow, what a cop out.
I will reframe some of the things you guys said to my own thing. But I would say the coolest part of the show was getting to talk to new people, and I think that using the interviews, the podcast interviews, as a way to start a conversation allowed us to talk to people that we maybe normally wouldn't have. So everywhere from employees on the shop floor to business owners to software companies to recruiters. It was interesting to see how, even though those are diverse roles and there's different goals in each of those roles, there was still common threads of what's the most exciting thing happening, what are their challenges and pain points. Obviously, labor shortage came up quite a bit, but so did automation. So it was just kind of cool to see all of these different perspectives and the way that they differed, but also where there was overlap, even despite the fact that they're coming from different angles. So I thought that was the most exciting thing about the show, was just talking to new people. And then overall, I think most exciting thing that the trade show opened up my eyes to is just automation overall, and some of the machines that we got to see. And like I said before, how that's making manufacturing a more viable career path, and how that's addressing those labor shortages. So I think that's exciting overall in manufacturing. So yeah.
Cool. Good answer.
Thanks. So yeah, with that, the four of us will disappear, but any listeners will get to hear just some of the interviews that we had. Like I said before, there was a variety of people that we talked to. So you'll hear them kind of grouped into common threads and themes on similar topics. So hopefully you enjoy that. And thank you all for being a part of this episode. Hopefully you'll come back sometime.
Yeah, hopefully
Definitely.
we can get you back.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right. With that introduction to the WIMTS show, let's get into some of the interviews that we had while we were at the show. So as you could probably glean from the conversation between me, Chad, Martha, and Ian, automation and AI were very top of mind. So let's start with just a few of the interviews we had about what was exciting about the show, seminars that people listened to related to automation and AI. All right, I'm with Randy and Vince from Strategic Performance Company. What is the coolest thing happening in manufacturing right now?
I think from my perspective, it's AI. And I know that may be very topical and a lot of people are talking about it, but one of the things that I heard today that I thought really resonated was AI is not going to take over your job or your company, but your competitor using AI will. And I think that really resonates with me and a lot of manufacturers who are really fearful of implementing AI and taking that first step. And in our business where we do digital transformation, it's all about making that first step and starting with something that's manageable. And there are many ways to do that, including with AI. So
yeah, I think that's great. I think that the sooner you embrace it, the more efficient you become. And then if you're not, then you're, like you said, your competitors will. And yeah, it's tough. Thanks, guys. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. What is your name and who do you work for?
My name is Pat. I work for JW Speaker.
And what is the most exciting thing happening in manufacturing right now?
I think that AI could potentially bring to the table for lots of different areas in manufacturing.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks so much.
All right, we are back, and I am with Neil. And do you want to just tell me where you work, Neil?
R&B Grinding, Racine, Wisconsin.
All right, and so question number one, what is the coolest thing that you have seen at WIMTS so far?
So far it's been the automation sections with the robots and cobots. Because of the shortage of labor, that's what we're doing as well.
Yeah, we hear that a lot, so makes perfect sense. Next question, what would you say you think is the most exciting thing happening in manufacturing today?
Again, I got to stick with the automation side of things. We're currently working with cobots and robots to automate lathes and machining cells. We're doing conveyor systems, things that one operator can handle 3 or 4 different cells at once.
All right, so you could hear a few different takeaways all around automation in that last segment. I think one of the interesting things that Randy from Strategic Performance Company had brought up is just the nature of the competitive landscape around AI. I think while it's a scary thing to embrace, and some manufacturers I think are maybe a little bit resistant to taking the challenge, the longer you wait, the sooner your competitors are going to be introducing AI into their processes, and that can leave kind of a big competitive gap. So I thought that was interesting. And then the other point too is just on the automation side, and how, that is a way to address workforce shortages. And I think there's 2 ways to look at that. There's one where it's, making up maybe for a workforce shortage. But another way that I think is interesting that you'll hear in just a moment is to enhance work life and actually attract new talent. So one of the exhibitors that was actually near where we were in the show was Midwest Engineered Systems. And they were exhibiting their welding cobot. So we talked with Dylan, who's the marketing manager there. And he told us a little bit about the welding cobot, and also a little bit about how automation like this is attracting new talent to their company. So here is Dylan. All right, I am with Dylan from Midwest Engineered Systems. Hi, Dylan.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning. All right, so our first question is, you're exhibiting here today. What is something really cool about your booth, or that you're really excited to feature?
Well, this time in this year, we're going to be celebrating our new cobot, a welding cobot. It's brand new. We have an ABB robot head with it, arm, and we're showing that off. It's like a new Ferrari.
And then the second question for you is just, what's something that you're really excited about in manufacturing right now?
Well, we're really excited about the demographic. We're trying to get the youth involved, especially now that all the baby boomers are retiring and all that skill set is going away. So we're trying to integrate younger and younger. Our cobot has really easy access to it and programming to it. It's almost like a tablet almost.
Yeah.
So you can get the youth involved with it really easy, and the capabilities of it. It's really nice and easy, very flexible. You can move it around. So that's why we got to program it.
Cool. I like that answer. It's actually, there's been some consistency in the answers we've gotten for that question about what's most exciting. I think it's the new up-and-comers and new faces to the manufacturing industry. So
yeah,
very
it's a transition.
Cool. Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
So that was a really great example of just how automation can actually engage new employees and attract new talent. So along those same lines, I was really excited to be introduced to Jim Mayer. He is the podcast host of the Manufacturing Culture podcast, and he was also at the WIMTS show, and it was super exciting to meet another podcaster who is a little bit more seasoned than I am. So he gave me great tips and advice. And then, of course, we talked a little bit about what his podcast is all about. So the Manufacturing Culture podcast basically addresses kind of what's happening in the manufacturing field regarding workforce, and just the importance overall of improving culture to both recruit, but also to retain top talent. So without further ado, let's hear from Jim Mayer. Okay, I am with Jim Mayer,
Yes.
podcast host for the Manufacturing Culture podcast.
Yes.
Thanks for stopping by, Jim.
You got it, Ann. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too. Okay, so I want you to do your kind of like elevator pitch for what your podcast is about, what you talk about. Yeah.
You got it. So the Manufacturing Culture podcast is a podcast about culture in manufacturing. We talk with business leaders that own or run shops. We also talk with the providers who support those shops. And we talk about the manufacturers who create products that support those shops. And so we talk about their cultural journeys within the industry, where the company culture was when they first started, where it is now, where they want to get it to. What are 3 things that they've done to change the nature of the culture in their company? And then also, if they manufacture or provide a service that supports the industry, how does their product or service change the culture internally inside of manufacturing shop?
Okay, one last question, which is more general. What's the most exciting thing happening in manufacturing right now, to you, in your eyes?
Yeah, so I think that the use of automation, AI, to then create moments to upskill employees, is really going to change the dynamic of the talent and retention pool in the industry. We've been doing things the same way for so many years and just kept the status quo. And a lot of these automation technologies aren't new, but they're just now being adopted. It's really hard for a lot of companies to adopt these technologies, but we're getting to a point where the younger generation is starting to take over in leadership positions, which is going to only make sure that we have better technology moving forward.
Right. Yeah, I think for a long time there was a big fear about automation, like taking over jobs essentially, but I think the reality is more that it's making jobs more exciting, and for that younger demographic, that's going to make manufacturing exciting and enticing and a career worth pursuing. So, yeah. Well, thank you so much. This was great. Thanks.
We're going to have to do a crossover episode.
Maybe you caught the end of that. Yes, maybe crossover episode in the works. That would be really exciting. So yeah, again, you could just hear a really good example of, why this is so topical and just top of mind, and how automation, again, it doesn't have to be a replacement for people, but can actually make work life just more efficient and more exciting and attractive to that new generation of employees. So we also talked to Mike White from a company called Secchi. He is the founder, and Secchi is spelled SECCHI. And they address employee work life and retention through their employee relationship software. So essentially companies with a really large workforce where it can be difficult to keep tabs on every single person. This software kind of allows you to spot moments for upskilling employees, spot moments for maybe opportunities for improvement or recognition. So again, just going back to using software and automation to improve recruitment and actually improve work life. So here is a little bit from Mike White from Secchi. All right, I'm with Mike White from Secchi. Yep. Hi, Mike.
Hey, nice to meet you. Talk to you.
Nice to meet you too. Okay, so first question, what is the most exciting thing that you're excited to showcase from Secchi today at the WIMTS show?
I am loving showing the opportunity to improve hourly labor shortage and retention issues. So we've been talking, almost everybody we talk to has a labor issue. And so we cut turnover in half. So it's been a hot booth for us.
Yeah, I think in every single interview we've done, either labor, retention, or recruitment has come up as either an exciting thing at the show or just exciting thing about manufacturing in general right now. So that makes a ton of sense. All right, next question is, what is the most exciting thing happening in manufacturing right now, in your eyes?
So I think the labor shortage is the exciting thing. And this is, hear me out. Okay. You can't see interviewers, but here's the thought, is because of the labor shortage, it's challenging us to do things different. So we're not just posting and praying that somebody comes into our shop. We're treating people better. We're figuring out innovative ways to be flexible with different workforce types, and we're surrounded by automation here that is going to put our state or our country in a really, really good position for future growth and innovation.
I love that answer. Well done. Thank you so much. So I think, what Seki is doing is just a perfect example of what Mike was talking about as far as looking at the labor shortage as an opportunity to really innovate and develop new software, develop new automation tools to really attract new talent and just change what work life and work culture looks like inside manufacturing companies. So I thought that was a really great way to address some of those issues, and some of the work Seki is doing is really kind of accomplishing that goal. So really cool stuff there. And then on the third day of the trade show was their Students' Day. So I wanted to share a few clips from that as well to just kind of highlight just some of the things that the students were involved in that day. Here, you'll hear a little bit from a teacher with a cohort of students that day. And then also just what manufacturing companies themselves are doing to attract students and diverse candidates. I am with Jake here at the WIMTS show. Jake, what brings you to the show today?
Well, I have 20 students with me, and it's just awesome to bring them here, to show them, to get them excited about manufacturing and automation in particular. And I have 8 teams competing in the team automation competition.
That's impressive. I will definitely have to check that out later. What is the coolest thing you've seen so far? I know it's early in the day, but has anything stood out to you?
Well, since the last time I was here 2 years ago, it's definitely grown. Seen a lot of different robots besides the Fanic platform, which is cool. I like the fact that there's an interactive competition going on here, drawing students here, bringing me here type of thing, and getting them excited, because I know right now is for the young people, there's a lot of opportunity at their fingertips. So
yeah, I think the next generation of manufacturers it's really exciting. We're on the forefront of it. All right, last question is, what is the most exciting thing happening in manufacturing right now?
So again, just to touch on automation and the direction that it's going in. I mean, even I'm a tech ed teacher, even in education, I'm bringing a lot of new technology, and it's all related to automation with smart sensors and Internet of Things, and just seeing how all those things integrated together with data analytics and just where AI is coming, making a move on the industry and all the industries. It's just really exciting to be a part of that and to be leading the students, through that evolution.
I bet that's really exciting to the students, especially to see all that kind of new technology emerging. Cool. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Okay, if you could introduce yourself with your name and who you work for.
My name is Cade with Rely Contract Manufacturing.
Excellent. And what is the coolest thing that you guys are exhibiting here at the WIMTS show?
The coolest thing that we are doing is helping to employ some of the neurodiverse communities here in the Milwaukee area. We work with them in our contract manufacturing facility, introducing them to about 12 to 15 different types of manufacturing capabilities, including rework testing, quality inspection, and just helping employers to be more aware of a job market that's quite good at what they do.
Excellent. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
All right. So again, just really cool to see, the interest among students and younger generations in the manufacturing field, and also just how manufacturing companies themselves are looking for ways to recruit and, thinking outside of the box a little bit and finding, that next generation of labor. So the last segment that I want to highlight, I've just kind of grouped into all of the cool things segment. So while automation and workforce were definitely the major themes, I would say, in what we heard, there were also many other things. So we heard about, cool robots and cobots at the show, some new improvements in 3D printing and automated or additive manufacturing. So I just wanted to play a few of those segments here before we wrap things up. Hi, what is your name?
Isha.
Isha? And are you here with a specific company today, or? just wandering the show?
I'm just wandering the show.
Awesome. So our 2 questions for you. The first one is, what is the coolest thing that you've seen so far at the show today?
First of all, I just arrived like 10 minutes back, and every second thing which I'm seeing here that is like cool. The first thing which drew my attention, that is one of the metal printing machine.
Cool.
They were, because I work in additive manufacturing, so when I saw that, I just got attracted towards it because I wanted to know like what actual technology which they are using for that. So that is like one of the coolest thing which I've seen so far, but I know that there are more cooler things right now here. And the second thing is obviously here, because when I saw marketing for manufacturers, I was like, okay, I want to know like what kind of marketing for manufacturer, because obviously manufacturing is one of the like major thing in every like industry, big and small. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much.
Hi, good morning. And we're here with?
I'm here with Meltrick Corporation.
Excellent. And your name?
Jenny Hansen.
Hi, Jenny. So we have 2 questions for you today. The first is, what's the coolest thing that you've seen at the show thus far?
Well, I love seeing all the robotics. We don't personally do that in our facility, so it is fun to see all these robots working on parts.
Very cool. And what's the most exciting thing happening in manufacturing right now?
Well, for us at Meltrick, we are going to be focusing on a new CRM system, which will bring every aspect of our company together. Yeah. It's very new for us, and it's been a challenge, but it'll be very interesting to pull everything together.
Excellent. Thanks so much.
All right. Thank you.
All right, we are here. It's day 3 at WIMTS, and I am with, do you go by Jeff or Jeffrey? Jeff Olson, and he's going to answer a couple of questions for us. So let's start off with, what is the coolest thing that you've seen here at the show today?
Besides the foam bucks fingers, the coolest thing I've seen is the interaction between the manufacturers and the student bodies that are here on field trips.
I love that answer. That is so important these days. All right, so number 2, what would you say you think is the most exciting thing that's happening in manufacturing right now?
The variations in like the printing, not necessarily the 3D printing with just plastics, but with cast iron and other materials that they are printing with.
Very cool. Yes, we heard someone else had said there's someone doing 3D printing with metal, and that was like such an innovation. So
it's neat stuff. It's neat stuff. Lot less waste.
Yeah.
So
absolutely. All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
All right. If you could introduce yourself, your name and who you work for.
I'm David Crane. I work for Crane Automatics myself.
Excellent. So we have 2 questions for you today. What is the coolest thing that you've seen at the WIMTS show thus far?
The coolest thing I've seen is the team automation competition, where they actually have the displays that the kids can, try and move a robot themselves. How do the relays work? How the switches and toggles affect? So,
thank you. And what is the most exciting thing happening in manufacturing now? It could be specific to your company or some trend that you've been seeing that's coming out.
The latest and greatest is blue light laser scanning, done by like Faro and Hexagon, where they're using handheld, scanners or mounted on CMMs to, provide a one-to-one feedback, building a point cloud of any object or that you want to measure, and it's accurate, usually within about a thou.
Wow. Very cool. Thank you so much.
So as you could hear, so many different takeaways and topics came up during the show. And I just want to reiterate too that while, we are a marketing agency, it's so important that we stay immersed in, what's going on in the world of manufacturing. And for us, it was just such a fun show and enlightened us in so many ways to some of the challenges and innovations that we weren't already aware of. So super exciting stuff. Very excited to exhibit at this show again in the future. We will definitely continue to do so. That's all we have for this episode of the Marketing Schematic. We hope you learned something new, and we'll stay tuned for our next episode.